Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the City Council will begin in a few moments. The City Council meets on the first, second, and third Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. and serves as the city's policymaking and legislative body. Each meeting is governed by Robert's Rule of Order unless those guidelines conflict with city ordinance or charter. City Council meetings offer an opportunity for citizens to speak directly to their elected representatives. Those in attendance are invited to address the Council during the public input segment at the beginning of the agenda. At that time, any issue that is not subject to formal action later in the agenda can be addressed. Testimony that concerns a resolution or an ordinance's second reading is only allowed when those specific agenda items are being addressed by the Council. When addressing the Council, citizens should speak directly into the microphones at the podium and state their names for the record after being recognized by the chair. To accommodate and respect all viewpoints, citizen comments are limited by ordinance to no more than 5 minutes each. Comments should be respectful and focused on providing new information that will benefit the Council's deliberative process. By city ordinance, all remarks must be addressed to the City Council as a body and not to any City Council member, including the mayor. The chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers. City Council meetings are broadcast live on CityLink and online at siouxfalls.org. Information regarding the City Council, its committees, meetings, briefings, and members is available by visiting siouxfalls.org/council or by calling the Council office at 605-367-8085. Thank you for your interest in Sioux Falls City Government.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, October 3rd. We certainly appreciate your attendance. We will start our meeting by introducing you to your City Council.
Council members Erpenbach. Here. Kiley. Neitzert.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Selberg.
Here.
Starr.
Present.
Staley. Here. Erickson. Mayor Huther.
Yes, thank you. Councilors, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate it. We are going to start this meeting, as we always do, with an invocation. And tonight, we've got Mr. Jerry Fogg with us. And Jerry is going to not only provide us with a prayer, but also a smudging. And it is a service that is really special. And Jerry, we would, again, welcome you. And please lead us in this invocation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Let us pray. Made iolo osne hi kenkeya. Shoma to klawa hoki pape. Hoyo spechula yu eknaki te iolo shitkeya. Made ido mitako oyase. Lord, wakantanka Jesus, help us in these days and times that we live now. With the earthquakes, the flooding, the bad things that are happening in this world and in our own backyards. Help us, keep us safe, protect us, deliver us from evil. Mitako ase ho. Amen.
Amen.
Now I will pray, not only pray in my own mind, but I will tell you about our smudging. We as a Oyate of people smudged many, many times of long ago, right up into today. And why we do this smudging is for many different purposes. It's not only for prayer. We do it for cleansing. We do it for honor. We do it for doing the right thing. And basically for telling the truth when it comes out of our mouth. And people understand what we say. We smudge to the west when we start. Usually we smudge to every individual person. But in this time here, we don't have that much time in here. But we smudge to the 4 directions. And when we do this, we are cleansed. We start anew, and we have good tidings. We smudge to Mother Earth. We smudge to Father Sky. And we bless ourselves and do the right thing that we should do. Tememento, mitako oyase, oche, pirama. Thank you, Mayor.
Folks, if you will remain standing, please, for our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jerry, first of all, thank you for being here and leading us in the smudging service. I don't know if that's ever been done before at Carnegie Hall or in City Hall or even in city government. So thank you. Really, really appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind joining me as well, I do have a proclamation, and there are some really special people here tonight. Of course, you've already met Jerry Fogg. Anna Broken Leg Keller is an educator. Please, Anna, if you'll join us. Marilyn Lonehill, Dennis Quigley, Melissa Buffalo, Amelia Buffalo, Aiden Buffalo, Santos Rivera, Serene Thinnock, and Lily Donovan are also here or in spirit. Jerry, is there anybody else you wanted to bring forward?
Sure. Jennifer, right?
Welcome, Jennifer.
Gabriel?
Welcome, Gabriel. Good to see you, Gabriel.
And possibly anybody else who would like to.
Well, very good, very good. Please come forward if you like. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you. The proclamation reads, whereas in 1990, South Dakota was the first state to declare the second Monday in October as Native American Day and made it an official state holiday. Whereas South Dakota is home to 9 tribes of the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota people. Whereas Native American people play a vital and integral role in shaping the future of our state, nation, and yes, city of Sioux Falls. Whereas Native American people were the original stewards of the land and have played a crucial role in policy development. Whereas Native American people have contributed to the cultural heritage and history of our country, state, and city. Whereas Native American people help in strengthening our community. Whereas Native American Day reminds us to celebrate the contributions and the heritage of Native Americans in the United States, South Dakota, and the city of Sioux Falls. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the city of Sioux Falls, do proudly proclaim October 9th, 2017 as Native American Day in Sioux Falls and encourage all community members to unite in commemorating this day and celebrating our Native neighbors, friends, and leaders. Jerry and friends, thank you for being here tonight. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Jerry, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Council, thank you for that opportunity. Appreciate it. We'll now move to our consent agenda for tonight. Any motions, changes?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Starr?
From the consent agenda, I'd like to discuss the item under public parking, item or project number 19002.
Councilor Starr, we'll certainly do that. Anything else? Any motions, Council?
Move to approve Night-Cert.
Second. Ermbach.
Thank you. There's been a motion to approve our consent agenda. Other than the public parking topic that Councilor Starr wants to address. Seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Our regular agenda tonight, Council, any changes to that?
Move to approve, Rubenbach.
Second, Star.
Thank you. There's been a motion to approve our regular agenda tonight, seconded as well by Councilor Starr. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach.
Yes.
Nitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed 6-0 as well. Again, folks, welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. Certainly pleased with the attendance. We've got a number of things to cover on the agenda. However, if there's something that you want to cover outside of the agenda, discuss with the council, now is a great time to do it. It's our public input portion. Just come forward, introduce yourself to the people of Sioux Falls. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and just try to be as professional and respectful as you can. Folks, anybody interested? Welcome.
Good afternoon, or evening, as the case may be. Is Robert Colby here. As many of you know, that I have an interest in history, and I try to bring that forward whenever possible. Politics is the present, which is looking out for our future. And some things have come to my attention here recently, and so what I would like to do is make that presentation. You know, Sioux Falls has had its own set of mini scandals or attention-getting things that have gone on here, and I wrote this several weeks ago, and several other things have come to the forefront in the meantime. You know, Sioux Falls has done some things that it was not in its best interest, such as burning a house they didn't own. There was a bridge that was taken down and disappeared. Nobody knew where it went. There was a house that grew too big, and it made its way all the way to the state Supreme Court. And a public building was wrapped in $1 million worth of tinfoil. The next one involves something, the next potential historical note involves some things that I was told from some people from City Hall that may be of note to the general population, that there are ordinances that are being bent for personal gain. It has to do with a hole on our main avenue downtown, that business entities that are dealing with this are changing their names in order to kind of be in compliance and be under the radar. There are RFPs that could be done. There's charging the city for plans to be constructed or put out for a project that normally the developer would do on their own without having to be paid to do it. That there's a facade easement that's kind of being put to the side, that the council is being asked to offer an ordinance to deal with the liquor laws that we have, where it's kind of like it's kind of in line with the Deadwood when they brought in the gambling. A guy would buy a building, and then he'd go back historically and look to see how many structures were on that site prior to buying that building so they could have more gambling machines. Well, this one is trying to go back and trying to use some of the old history of the structure in order to benefit their particular building. And when I say about the liquor ordinances, a person could literally buy one liquor license, and if they bought more buildings in conjunction with it that are next to it and put a door through, you could have one person have a liquor license and have 6 properties in a row, all using that same liquor license. So somebody in City Hall was a little upset with this, but that may be the next big thing. Anyhow, to go on, we had a large hole in the street that took a long time to get filled in, and they used to call that the Hansen hole. We have another hole that is getting filled in, and we are we're looking for a name for that. It would look like that the people who are dealing with this particular redevelopment are hoping to get the same people involved to negotiate with them that negotiated our ambulance contract and our performance center contract, where who came out best in that deal? It wasn't an even negotiation. It seemed like everything flowed away from the people to some private person's pocket. My grandmother, as we dealt with some of the historic things here with Mr. Fogg, my grandmother used to say, if I did something wrong, she'd go like this. And then she'd say, fee, fee. She was a Swede. And that meant you did something wrong, don't do it again.
Mr. Colby, thank you very much.
And myself.
Folks, is there anybody else who want to engage the council? Welcome. And ma'am, please come forward. Welcome. Scott, just come on forward too, please. Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening to me today. My name is Delinka Bodwan, and I live here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and have been for almost 13 years now. And I am a small business owner. I own a food truck here in town called Swamp Daddy's Cajun Kitchen, and soon to be opening up a restaurant downtown. My purpose today is I saw the recent events going on, especially the hurricane situation. I'm from Louisiana, from the South, and had a lot of family and friends that were affected by the recent hurricanes. And I thought, instead of looking at TV, wishing or saying that's a sad situation, and deciding to do something about it, what I came up with, and also speaking with other people and my family, is that we are going to hold a food truck trunk or treat event downtown at 8th and Railroad on October 14th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the purpose of this event is not only just to have a trunk or treat and involve the community, but also we have residents of Sioux Falls that have family that have been affected by this Hurricane Maria to be specific. So the name of the event is the first annual food truck trunk or treat, and this year is going to cater to a benefit which is called Puerto Rico and the Caribbean Hurricane Relief Fund, and that's by Global Giving. So at this event, we're not only asking the community to come out and enjoy the festivities that we have presented, but to also bring supplies and materials, in which we have a list that we're putting out on social media and other outlets, so that the community can not only check on the checkout where you donate $1 or $2, but to also have a more powerful impact to donate, whether it's soap, shirts, bottles of water, canned goods, and such. And I feel like this is a wonderful event. It gives our community a way to give back and to help those in need. And we are asking the support from our community and all the representatives, whoever want to come out and support the event. Again, that's October 14th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 8th and Railroad. We'll have 7 food trucks. We'll have bouncy houses for the kids. There will be music. There will be people set up passing out candy. And this is all done, has been made possible by sponsors who have made it possible so that 100% of all money earned will be able to go into this fund. An account has been created with Wells Fargo Bank, and that information is on our Facebook page and also presented out there if anyone wants to donate. And so, yeah, we would just like to get that out there. And if anybody is interested in stopping by or would like any more information, we have that listed on our Facebook page, Swamp Daddy's Cajun Kitchen, and you can go on there and get the information to be able to donate or also find out how you can contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your stewardship. We appreciate it. Scott, welcome.
Scott Harrisman, Sioux Falls. I was watching the information all today about the siding settlement. And, you know, I'm not going to go into my opinion about a lot of the stuff that was said and what's happened, and I've been following this a long time. I think that the council touched on many issues. The one thing that I took from the whole thing was that since the administration is not willing to release the Judd Allen report, even though legally they can, I think the council, the next step they should do is forget about any more meetings or working sessions or anything like that, is write a resolution that would take some money out of the building fund, which I understand has almost $3 million in it. Take some money out of there and file your own independent report. Now, why should the council do this? Well, we've been told that we need to take the administration's word that it's structurally sound. Well, we were supposed to take the word on the siding settlement, and we found out it was about a roof. My thing is that I think to be proactive, the council needs to do this study so that they know in the future, 5-10 years down the road, do we need to fix anything? Maybe we don't. But why not just spend the money now and figure it out? Second thing I want to talk about is also from the informational meeting and has nothing to do with the roof or the siding or whatever. It has to do with the way a certain counselor treats another counselor here week after week after week. It's getting old. He's been treating her this way ever since she's taken office.
Scott, I'm going to ask you to respond to the body as a whole, please. Thank you.
I never said who they were.
Yep. Again, as a whole, please, Scott. And you can do it. You can still make your point by doing it that way.
I'm not your peers. You're your peers. Each other are your peers. You're equal up here. And you need to treat each other that way. If you have an issue with one of your peers, take it up with them outside of the chambers, not here. It's disrespectful. I'm tired of it. It's quite disgusting, actually. Threatens with ethics violations, threatening this, threatening to kick you off, threatening to change. Well, we changed the election rules so that, you know, people have to get more. I mean, it's just, that's not what government is supposed to do. You're supposed to work together. Get with the program, man.
Thanks, Scott. Folks, anybody else? Welcome.
Tim Stenga. I brought up a issue a couple weeks ago with the Parks Department. I just wanted to thank Don Carney for being professional on not only calling my daughter and explaining to her that this isn't what he wanted her to, how you want to say it, with the Parks Department. And he asked her what other things could be done different. Then he called me that same night, and he more or less apologized to me on how it turned out. He asked me some different things on what should be done different. And with the kids running up and down that building, hopefully they move the garbage cans, put some signs up there, and hopefully that takes care of it. But no, I just wanted to bring up that he was very professional, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Tim, we all appreciate it. Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Bruce Danielson, Sioux Falls. I just want to say today has been an interesting stop on a 3-year journey to try and get some answers on construction manager at risk and the way it's been done. And it got me thinking over the weekend about some things that I've been sort of collecting over time. I want to say thank you for adding the Event Center settlement agreement to my bag of things. I found my Denny Sanford Premier Center car charger for my phone. Been very handy. Yeah, and I came across my Midco pool blanket that came from the little ceremony that was held out there when Midco decided to put their name on the building. Then I started looking through here, and I find a watertight water shield that could have gone on the event center, but the city decided that they were too cheap to use it. I have the commercial Tyvek wrap that I could show any one of you so that you can see what could have been used on there. You know, as I got digging through here, I found, oh, yeah, here's the composite siding that could have gone on the building. It's nice siding, and I've put up this siding. It's good stuff. So then, you know, then I started digging in my bag here, and oh, look at that. Petitions from different projects that we've decided that we should fight because we weren't getting the straight answer on things. You know, we kept getting all these really interesting ways of looking at things, and we never could quite get straight answers. So, you know, there were petitions that were circulated. You know, then I found, oh, gosh, there's rubber roofing material. You know, this is all part of what this siding settlement was supposed to be about. Well, if that doesn't work, then we've got the waterproof bags that came from the Midco grand opening that you can put your cell phones in and so on. So when the walls leak and everything leaks, we can just throw our cell phones in that and continue enjoying the shows. So when I got down to the end of it, gosh, I found my reading material that I've been keeping lately. And I just want everybody to realize what we've gone on. And I recently got a National Geographic that I thought was very appropriate for what we've been going through lately. And I just wanted you to get to see what I've been thinking about for the last 3 years. So I thank you very much. I look forward to getting more answers in the near future. And I plan to keep working to give you guys more answers. If you're interested in asking, any one of you can call me, and I would be glad to tell you even more than what you learned today. Thank you.
Folks, did anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome, sir.
I'm Claire Halverson, longtime resident of Sioux Falls. Thank you. I don't know if I should be talking to you directly or if I should be talking to one of the departments in the city, but as the railroad yards in town become property of the city, I would very much like to see a museum set up showing the history of the railroad in Sioux Falls. I know there are many buildings downtown here that at one time were depots, but now they're a long ways from tracks. I just think it would be appropriate to have a museum set up showing the history of the railroads in Sioux Falls and where they have gone at different times. Thank you.
Mr. Ellerson, thank you as well. If you want, we'll, Jim, could you get this gentleman's contact information, sir? And we'll give you a good understanding of what's going to happen there, including some historical things involving the railroad. Council, I hope you don't mind if I engaged Mr. Halverson in that way. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Thank you, Council. First of all, I want to applaud you for the opportunity.
Sir, your name, please.
Rick Eltoff. Rick Eltoff. Applaud you for the opportunity for the public to be able to speak very openly in this regard. I chatted 2 weeks ago, and I apologize that perhaps I was not as clear as I'd hoped to be, but at the same time, I think the concerns that have been brought up here this evening demonstrate the overall concern of enhancing and strengthening our government. This is the people's government. And because of that, it should always favor disclosure to the people. That's the number one premise. If we follow that number one rule, I don't think you're going to have the sarcasm, the concerns, the petty issues, and so on, but at the same time, the petty issues are very, very important to certain individuals. And I can relate to that. I think we can all relate to that. We all have disagreements. But it's absolutely essential to favor the citizens and public information, full disclosure for the citizens, because it's the people's government. You know, I don't think anybody's concerned about paying taxes. They don't mind paying taxes if they have confidence that the expenditures are beneficial, of value, and fair to the citizens. It's outrageous, however, when citizens' monies are used to deny citizens' rights. And that's what we continue to find, not only here, everywhere in this country. So, but where do we start? We start here at our home base. We've got to start here, uplifting it, growing it, enhancing it, making our citizens, or allowing our citizens to be involved, to be part of the process. It's outrageous, as I mentioned, to have those monies, and you see it all the time. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you got city government suing school government. All the governments are suing everybody, and governments currently are suing private citizens for trying to get free access to information, which is rightfully theirs. In my opinion, a fraud was perpetrated on the citizens with the misrepresentation that was disseminated, and most importantly, there was a great amount of credibility and trust lost unnecessarily toward our government. Unnecessarily, all this energy, monies, and everything has been lost because it's an uncivil expenditures. You know, with that being said, I would simply say that I pray that we be mindful of the need of integrity and service toward the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Altoff. Folks, anybody else? Council? Moving on to number 19, please.
We have an item from Councilmember Starr.
Oh, gosh. Yep. Councilor Starr, my apologies, sir.
Not a problem.
My apologies. Councilor Starr wanted to talk about an item on the consent agenda involving public parking, number 19002. Councilor Starr, your questions, please.
Yes, absolutely. And I think staff had asked someone from parking to be here tonight. I think Matt's with us. But basically, I'm looking for a little background of what the amendment to the legal services agreement is and where we're moving forward. I know it has to do with a proposed parking ramp that we're doing, and I know that we've allocated $100,000 for legal services, and this is adding to it, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, and it would be in line with the email that was sent out earlier, and I don't know if you had a chance to read that, but it is an amendment to the contract that was originally completed in September of 2015 when we began working on this mixed-use parking ramp. We've been using that contract and spending from the allocated funds for the past approximately 2 years. We're approximately 85% spent on that contract. We're nearing the end of our expenditures, but we are going to need some additional funds to finish up 2 contracts. Those contracts are our development agreement and our operating and easement agreement are the 2 that are not finalized yet, but we've used it to complete 2 other contracts. One you've seen and approved, the architect contract, and the other one, which is the construction manager at risk agreement, which will come forward when we have everything ready to come forward for the project.
And that's where my issue comes in, Matt. I'd sure like our agenda I looked today at the agendas for the rest of the month in October. We're available. We have time during our informationals that you could come forward and brief us where we're at. My concern in this project through the entire thing has been that as part of public parking and community development, you want to wait until the deal's done. You're asking for additional money tonight to complete a project, but this project has been delayed. It's been delayed because it came in more expensive than we planned again, and we're adjusting it. We have the ability, and I'd like to tonight at least invite you to pick a date in October to bring us up to date where we're at. Don't wait till the contract's completely done. Don't bring us the finished project. Bring us in now rather than waiting until it's done and it's too late. And that's what we've been complaining a lot about lately, is that we're being brought in on the back end of this stuff. Involve us in the process. I know it's an administrative function, but at the same time, we're setting the policy of what parking is in downtown and include us in that process. So at this point, if I could, Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve this item.
Second, Erpenbach.
Second.
Seconded, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach.
Yes.
Nitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
No.
That has passed 5-1. And is that enough, David? Okay, very good. Item number 19, please.
Item number 19 is the transfer of a 2017 retail liquor license with Sunday sales certificate and video lottery terminals from WNP of Sioux Falls LLC Buffalo Wild Wings, 2601 South Louise Avenue, Suite 100, to WNP of Sioux Falls LLC Buffalo Wild Wings, 640 South Highland Place, CUP not required, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 20 is a new 2017-18 retail malt beverage license for Hydra Beer Company LLC, Hydra Beer Company, 125 West 10th Street, CUP not required, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 21 is a new 2017 retail wine license for Hydra Beer Company LLC, Hydra Beer Company, 125 West 10th Street, CUP not required, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 22 is a special one-day malt beverage license for Sioux Falls Roller Dolls to be operated at Special Olympics, South Dakota, 800 East I-90 Lane for special sporting events on October 7th and November 4th, 2017.
Evening, Jamie.
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Item 19 is a transfer of a license that's currently being held at the Louise location in preparation for the opening of their new location in Dolly Farms. Items 20 and 21 are a second location for Hydra Beer, and this is going to be a tap tasting room. And item 22 is a special one day that has met the state law requirements. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jamie. Council?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Erpenbach.
On a motion to approve, it has been seconded. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach.
Yes.
Nitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 23.
Item 23 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at northeast corner of North Career Avenue and West Benson Road from the RS Single Family Residential, Suburban RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential, Suburban RA2 Apartment Residential, Moderate Density, and O Office Districts to the CN Conservation RA2 Apartment Residential, Moderate Density, LW Live Work, and C4 Commercial Regional Districts. Petition number 6725, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
Jason Bieber representing Planning and Building Services. This is an application by John Heck. The owner is Kent Cutler. It's located at the northeast corner of West Benson Road and North Career Avenue, just west of I-29. It's roughly 74.3 acres in size. The purpose of this specific rezoning is they're looking at constructing a future office, commercial, and multifamily residential development.
Folks, the second reading. Did anybody want to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Rolfing.
Got a motion to approve this item by Councilor Erpenbach, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach.
Yes.
Nitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 24.
Item 24 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 1210 North Weber Avenue from the I-2 Heavy Industrial District to the Recreational District, petition number 7098, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is the City of Sioux Falls Planning Department. The owner is Stockyards Plaza, LLC. It is located just northeast of Falls Park on Weber Avenue. It's roughly 3.63 acres in size. And the purpose of this rezoning is to take a portion of the former Stockyards site and construct the Stockyards Plaza Park.
Jason, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Councilors?
I'll move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Erpenbach.
On a motion to approve this item by Councilor Rolfing, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach.
Yes.
Nitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 25.
Item 25 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located east of North Westport Avenue and north of West 54th Street North from the I-1 Light Industrial District to the CN Conservation District, petition number 7234, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Mark Mickelson. It is located on Westport Avenue, just northwest of the Sanford Sports Complex. It's roughly 3.22 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is they are looking at constructing some on-site detention as part of the warehouse project that will be constructed to the north.
Folks, another second reading. Anybody interested in discussing this with the council? Councilors?
Move to approve, NYSERD.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Neisert. Thank you, Councilor Selberg. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 26.
Item 26 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 2308, 2400, and 2412 South Summit Avenue from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the S2 Institutional Campus Planned Unit Development District, petition number 7241, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Augustana University. These properties are located on Summit Avenue, just east of Augustana's main campus. It's roughly 0.39 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is they are looking at just incorporating these existing duplexes into their campus master plan.
Jason, thank you. Anybody interested in speaking to the council about this topic? Councilors?
I'll move approval.
Second, Urbanbach.
There's been a motion to approve. It has been seconded. Councilor Urbanbach.
Jason, just remind us, when we put a piece of property like this into a planned development like that, does it change the rules for when they make changes to the building or anything like that? Can you just kind of give us that 101 real quick?
Yeah, as part of them placing these within their planned unit development, any kind of new construction or changes to the property, they will have to update then their initial development plan. That would go to Planning Commission to kind of show the whole development as a whole and what they're proposing to build there.
So really, it doesn't make it necessarily easier to get through the process. It just allows them to plan in more cohesive ways. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. To kind of plan these parcels as part of their overall campus. I'm assuming in the future they'll probably construct some student housing there and that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Thank you.
A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 27.
Item 27 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 2301 West 46th Street from the C3 Commercial Community District to the RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density District, petition number 7270, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant owner here is Caleb Fitzer. It's located on 46th Street, just west of Southwestern Avenue. It's roughly 5 acres in size, and as you can see by the aerial, there's an existing apartment complex with 3 buildings and 4 garages. Excuse me. The purpose of this is this parcel has been zoned commercial for quite some time. We are looking at just rezoning it to multifamily to match the current use of apartments on the parcel.
Thanks, Jason. Audience, anybody want to speak to this item? Thank you. Councilors?
Move approval.
Second.
Councilor Selberg has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg? Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 28.
Item 28 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the northwest corner of West 41st Street and South Ellis Road from the AG Agricultural District to the RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban and RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density Districts, petition number 7291, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Brady Hyde. It is located north of West 41st Street, and west of South Ellis Road. It's roughly 44 acres in size, and the purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking at constructing a future apartment complex there adjacent to 41st Street, and then some twin home and townhome properties to the north of that.
Thank you, Jason. Folks, second reading. Anybody interested? Councilors?
I'll move approval.
Thank you, Councilor Bach. Thank you, Councilor Rolfing. Appreciate it. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 29.
Item 29 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southeast corner of East Benson Road and I-229 from the AG Agriculture and I-1 Light Industrial Districts to the I-2 Heavy Industrial District, petition number 7292, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Tom Sweetman. This is located at the southeast corner of 229 and East Benson Road. It's roughly 325 acres. The purpose of this specific rezoning is they're looking at constructing a future heavy industrial development and zone it similar to the properties to the east of this existing parcel.
Thank you, Jason. Folks, anybody in the audience interested? Councilors?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Selberg.
Thank you, Councilor Rolfing. Thank you, Councilor Selberg. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg? Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 30.
Item 30 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located south of West 32nd Street and west of South Kinderhook Avenue from the LW Live Work District to the RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban District, petition number 7293, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Chuck Point with Ronning Companies. This is located just east of Ellis Road and just south of 32nd Street. It's roughly 3.4 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is the current zoning does allow apartments and offices. The applicant is planning on constructing strictly townhomes there, so they are downzoning the property to the RD2.
Thank you, Jason. Folks, anybody in the audience want to speak to this item? Council?
Move to approve, Nitzert. Second, Selberg.
Councilor Neistert's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Selberg. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 31.
Item 31 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southwest corner of West Maple Street and North Westport Avenue from the C4 Commercial Regional District to the I-1 Light Industrial District, petition number 7295, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Tony Schwartz. The owner is David Graham. This is located at the Old Oaks Hotel site. It's roughly 3.7 acres in size, and the purpose of this rezoning is they are looking at constructing a Viking glass manufacturing and warehouse building on about a third of the Old Oaks Hotel site.
Jason, thank you. Folks, anybody in the audience want to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Selberg.
All right, Council, here we go.
Need to wake everybody up.
A little flat tonight.
There you go, there you go. Well, Councilor Rolfing is going, and so is Councilor Selberg. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. 6-0, that is passed. Item 32.
Item 32 is a second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at northwest corner of West 6th Street and South Minnesota Avenue from the RT1 single-family residential traditional and RA1 apartment residential low-density districts to the C2 commercial neighborhood and streetcar districts, petition number 7299, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Carol Mueller with Minnehaha County. The owner is Murray Properties. This is located just west of the Minnehaha County Administration Building. It's roughly 0.40 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is they are looking at constructing an accessory parking lot for Minnehaha County on the existing vacant lot, and also tearing down the existing key real estate building and constructing some parking on that parcel as well.
Jason, thank you. Folks, anybody in the audience want to speak to this item? Councilors? Yes, Councilor Neisert, sir.
Thank you. When we're looking at this, where is Minnesota Avenue?
Minnesota would be to the right.
To the right?
Yep.
Okay.
So they would have the lighted intersection at 6th and Minnesota to kind of get pedestrian traffic across Minnesota Avenue.
What is the required buffering there? Is it just a setback?
Along Minnesota Avenue, they have that 10-foot setback. Along the west side, there's some properties there that are zoned existing single family. However, there are some converted houses. So depending on how many units, they'll have to provide either a level A or level B buffer yard along that backside.
Okay, I guess I'll probably support this with some consternation, only because, and the county needs a parking, but I guess I just wish it wouldn't be used as a parking lot. It's not a great use of a prominent location along downtown, in a very prominent location there. I just really hope that with project design, we can try to soften it up. Maybe there could be some berming or something to just pretty it up a little bit. It's just not an optimal use along that frontage. But so I'm not excited about it, but it is probably their property, right? So.
And we will get I don't know if you've been by the key real estate building. I do believe that that's pretty much on Minnesota Avenue. So we will actually get some green grass and some trees along where that building is. So there'll be a little bit of beautification there. So.
Okay, thank you.
Council, would anybody want to make a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, both. Appreciate it. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg? Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 33.
Item 33 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property located at southwest corner of West 4th Street and South Minnesota Avenue from the RA1 apartment residential low density and O office districts to the C2 commercial neighborhood and streetcar district, petition number 7307, 2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is John Meyer. This is located about 2 blocks north of the rezoning that we just dealt with, just north of the existing Come and Go gas station. It's roughly 0.74 acres in size. The purpose of this is they are looking at constructing a future office building with some parking. The main floor will be offices, and then they will, on the second floor, they will provide some residential units up on the second floor.
Jason, thank you. Anybody want to speak to this item? Council?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second.
Councilor Black's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 34.
Item 34 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by amending Chapter 160, Zoning Subchapter PUD, Planned Unit Development District, Section 160.449, Downtown PUD District. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
Good evening, Diane DeCoyer with Planning and Building Services. Before you is an update to the downtown design standards that exist within the RE6 form in the downtown PUD. The first slide is basically a history going back to the 1983 zoning ordinance when downtown was zoned as a C3 central business district. And there was a design review process at that time. In 1995, there was actually with Main Street some guidelines that were put together back then that were a little less formal than what we have today. In the 2025 downtown plan, working with a couple of the groups, the Design and Streetscape group, their goal there was to develop an updated set of design standards. In 2015, with the Shape Places ordinance that was adopted, We do have the downtown PUD with some standards in there, so this again is an update. In the past 2 years, we have held several public meetings, had a couple of consultants in for different workshops, working with downtown Sioux Falls and the Design and Development Committee, and then also meeting with developers directly. So after 2 years, what you have here is that update. This is what we have for the downtown PUD. We have an initial development plan that the city put together, the planning office put together. Whenever somebody has an updated project, they are required to submit a final development plan for review, and that is an administrative review. The two areas that are in color indicate both the downtown historic district and the old warehouse and courthouse district. So those follow the Secretary of Interior standards, and those are reviewed by the Board of Preservation. So they do not fall under the review of the downtown design standards, but they do have to do a final development plan if they are making changes. So the intent of it, this is pretty general, but the purpose is to make the district of the central business area the focal point of the city, encouraging both private and public investment. Just a reminder, what you have is both a clean and dirty copy of the ordinance. So I am just going to cover the areas that are updated within the ordinance. So you may see some inconsistencies with the numbering, but that's because these are just the updates. So with the parking orientation here, with the parking ramp on the lower right, this is an example of what we'd like to see for anything in the future so that it kind of disguises itself a little bit more as a parking ramp, fits in better with commercial buildings. You don't necessarily see if there's angle ramping within the building. You have more horizontal banding to help disguise that. Also with some of the surface lots, generally you don't want to see, and as Councilor Neitzer mentioned, even there at 6th and Minnesota, you don't always want to see a parking lot at a corner because that's a good opportunity for development. Doesn't mean it always has to stay that way. The same thing here. I mean, this is our Carnegie lot, but at least this has been updated with some nice fencing and some plantings to create a little bit more of a buffer for those sitting across the street at dinner or other businesses. For facades, what we're looking at here is dominant lines of the facade to parallel the line of the street, stepping back or extending portions of the building just to create some interest and break up that facade, trying to differentiate a base with different materials. You can see in that center photo with a quartzite, punch windows above that, and the upper floor with arched windows to define, base, middle, and top, and then a heavier cornice to define the top of the building. Those are just good practices for architecture, and we're just looking to try to enforce that a little bit more. Building entrances. Here you can see, and again, it's consistent with a lot of our historic buildings to be able to recess those entrances or define it with an awning or something so that it's more pronounced. It's usually adjacent to some display windows. A lot of our older buildings do a good job of that. We don't have a lot of new buildings, so I'm just showing what has been there in the past just to emphasize that. The scale of new buildings designed with a pedestrian scale. One of our newer ones downtown, although it's about 20 years old, is Phillips Center at the corner of 11th and Phillips. Based on the way the facade is broken up on the first floor with the windows, it makes it much more pedestrian friendly for people walking along there on the sidewalk. A couple other things is dividing large buildings in the facade so that no design segment is more than 100 feet in length by something that long without having any breakup or reveals in it or whatever, that it tends to get a little monotonous and boring. So just trying to emphasize things like that. Primary facade, stepping back or extending forward portions of the facade, using different textures and materials, storefronts with display windows and entrances, arcades, awnings, window bays and balconies, and any other ornamental features, variations in roof lines to add interest as well. With windows at the upper stories, we'd like to see those to be more of a punched recessed opening in order to create a rhythm of light and shadow. Shape and size and pattern of windows to have those consistent with the organization of the facade. Any glass on street-facing doors and windows, our preference is to see that they're clear. It's always nice to see what the activity is on the inside of a building as well as to the exterior. So we don't want to see anything with reflective glass. So the image on the lower right shows the use of that. This is a different community, but we do have some of that. It's difficult to see what's going on in a building. It makes it a lot less interesting. So we would hope to avoid that in the future with any other development. And the same with the minimums and maximums we're identifying here for windows, upper stories, and balconies, again, just to break up that facade and add interest. With balconies, there's a little bit of a conflict here between engineering and the building code, but with balconies, that we don't want to see those extending out over the public right-of-way. This is a good example on the left where there's decks down below on the first level and then balconies above that. So it does stay within their property line and doesn't step over onto the public right-of-way. Awnings and canopies. The difference here is the request is to open up those ends of awnings so that you can see what's going on. It doesn't enclose those so that you don't get any birds in there creating any nuisance, but just to create the most amount of opening there. Quality of lighting downtown. A lot of our buildings don't have individual lighting. We have a lot of the old gas lighting there. What we're looking for here is really to avoid some of the inappropriate light fixtures, and those are the internally lit awnings, the blinking or flashing type of lights, in any exposed conduit with electrical sources. And rooftop, this is a rendering of the Washington Square that's under construction. It's difficult to show because I tried to go over there today and take a photo, but it's up there so high. But with a penthouse, we want to be able to see that those things are enclosed so we don't see any of the mechanical equipment up on the roof. In anything with an enclosure, the request is that it's similar to what the building materials are, the same for stair or elevator enclosures up to the rooftop. In addition, any kind of balcony decorative railings, we're looking for a decorative metal, a cable, aluminum, or glass. And those, I think, are pretty consistent with what we see downtown already. Street furnishings, the request here is really to try to avoid any kind of molded plastic. They don't hold up well with our weather and they get blown around a little bit. And I don't know that we have any, but again, those are things that we're hoping to avoid in the future. A couple of the major things that we talked about throughout all of this with the update, one was building heights and about whether or not we would modify that. We ended up leaving it as is. We're looking to increase more density downtown, so restricting a building height didn't make a lot of sense. So that is going to stay as unlimited. Materials for buildings, Sharapa Place is a great example of not only architecture, but the materials that were used on it, both a quartzite and a precast. I think there's some brick as well. And more importantly, some of the things that we're hoping to avoid are some stucco, and we understand that there may be some need to have that in small quantities, stucco or EFS, split face or burnish CMU, textured or patterned or integrally colored cast in place concrete, and then architectural metal decorative panels, structural elements and decorative support or trim members, again, those in minimum. A lot of our new buildings have done a very good job with more noble materials, which are consistent with what we see with some of our historic buildings downtown. So we just want to make sure with anything new that it fits in and complements what we have that's existing. So the review process with this update on the design standards stays the same. We have the initial development plan for downtown. We make sure that it's within conformance to the initial development plan, review that administratively at the time for a final development plan with the IDP and also the RE6 form. So these are just elements that we'll continue to review, but it does update the ordinance with these changes that I just went through.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Folks, anybody in the audience want to speak to these changes or recommendations? Councilors? Councilor Erdenbach.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate the report. Could you go back to the slide that has 18 balconies on it? It's interesting. I'm not a student of architecture, but I enjoy interesting architecture, so I'll just put that out there. And I travel a little bit, and so I have seen other communities have, and I'm looking specifically at the product on the left, and I think it's an aesthetic thing. It's you decide for yourself what you like and what you don't. Right. Some of these rules sound very strict. I mean, I've got to have my awning has to be open and my lights have to be a certain way, and I can't have this kind of whatever details, right? But when we look at the two pictures on this page in particular, very dramatic architecture differences, right?
Right.
Can you talk about that? Those rules aren't in there. We aren't saying this really, the building on the left is very trendy. It's in a style that is across the country at this point. New buildings look like this all over the place. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that a little bit in terms of how, you can't legislate aesthetics. You can't legislate my poor taste, right? But can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and we're not trying to legislate design at all. What we're trying to do is encourage better materials, things that are more durable. And you do see the metal panels. Those are more consistent with what you see nowadays. And actually, one of the first projects that we are reviewing with these standards is the new Uptown project at 2nd and Phillips. And they've got metal panel on that as well. We did ask them to reduce the amount of metal panel because, again, that kind of sets a little bit, it becomes too trendy. And I don't know that material is as durable as some of the others. So they have cut that back. They have a lot more brick on the building. And again, that's more consistent with what we see downtown is much more complementary within all of downtown. So.
Well, and maybe I had a long conversation with a constituent about this, and maybe that's part of it is that the ones that are all metal panels, like the product on the left, are so dramatically different downtown. Right. They seem to fit in better in other locations. There's one on Minnesota Avenue that looks fine where it is. But we did talk about that idea that you can look at homes that were built in the 80s and you know exactly what year those houses were built. They all look exactly alike, right?
Yeah.
And my house was built in 64 and it looks like every other house on the block because they were all doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I get that it's kind of a trend, but I also see that new project, the Cascades, is starting to show a little morphing of the style. So I wanted to again reiterate, and I hope that the constituent is watching because it was a conversation we had that we really cannot legislate taste. But your point is that you can legislate quality materials, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And the other thing is, too, we have a lot of historic buildings. We have historic districts within downtown. This is new development. We're not looking for something that's going to look historic because it's not. So we expect newer materials to be used, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. We just want to make sure that they're better and more durable materials that are going to hold up. There's longevity to them, just like what we have with the buildings that are brick and stone. So that's what we're trying to encourage here.
Good, thank you. Mm-hmm. I would move approval, Mr. Mayor.
Then a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Silver. Councilor Staley.
Diane, you mentioned that you're trying to enforce this a little bit during your presentation. You use those words. You're looking for ways to try to enforce this. Tell me how does enforcement play out?
Well, the enforcement is that it's part of the RE6 form and the downtown PUD. So when I say enforce, these are things that we have to follow when we review any project within the downtown.
So before, yeah, you're not ever going to be coming after someone after it's been, this is the beforehand.
No, I mean, we always want to try to be flexible. If there's something in here that, say, a developer just can't seem to work with, I mean, there's always the process, like what we have with alternative landscape plans or alternative buffer plans. There's always that opportunity as well that would go through Planning Commission.
And tell me and the people listening, what kind of buildings are these mostly going to be like apartment buildings that, as you're dealing with this, is it, because we've got a lot of established buildings already downtown. So
right.
The new buildings I see going up are a lot of the apartment buildings.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what we'll continue to see, but this would also apply into the rail yard relocation area as well, the redevelopment area, so it would apply.
So like the apartments on 2nd Avenue west of Sunshine, did you had conversations with them about what kind of materials they were using and how much brick they would put on it? And
we didn't have standards the way we do with what this update is proposing. So based on what they had proposed, it was a little bit more of an open book as to what they could use there. So we didn't have any kind of enforcement to try to persuade them maybe to use some different type of materials.
Well, so when this passes, it'll look different as we go forward.
We would hope so, but again, we want to allow for flexibility. We're not trying to define design black and white. It just doesn't happen. I mean, part of the creativity process is doing something different and unique, so we're always going to see that.
Councilor Neisert.
I think you mostly answered this, but in previous code, a lot of times it was more suggestions. It wasn't a shall. It was, it'd be
correct.
Nice if you did this. This is what we would. I don't remember what the verbiage was, but it wasn't a command. And this is more
of a recommendation.
And so this is more of a shall. These are required.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we tried to be careful with the language there.
Yeah. Okay. But the safety valve, if there's just I need to deviate a little bit. I can. Yeah. The functional way would be an alternative site plan. Is that allowed under this? I think it is under RE6.
Yeah. Under RE6, yeah, we could. That's about the best way to be able to accept a modification that maybe deviates somewhat from the form and the design standards.
Yeah, because there's always going to be something where it's just maybe just not going to work.
Right.
So it's good to have an out. Okay, thanks.
Folks, before I go back to counselors, Counselor, is there anybody else who wants to speak? Counselor.
And just one more, what kind of feedback did you get from just the general population downtown?
We went through quite a few meetings over really about a 2-year process. I think we started out being much more strict than what you're seeing here tonight. We've kind of had to water it down based on some of our individual meetings with developers and architects. Some people felt like it was much too strict, what we were looking at in the beginning. So things have been modified to what you see today, and I think that's been more palatable for most people that have reviewed it.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Councilors, would anybody want to make a motion to approve?
They did.
I think we did.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah,
oh,
we just
thank
need
you.
roll call.
Good job, Council. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach, Neitzer,
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Thank you, Council. Item 35.
Item 35 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls approving the preliminary plan of Pinnacle Point addition.
This is, the applicant here is John Heck, the owner is Kent Cutler. This is the preliminary subdivision plan that goes along with the rezoning that we've seen tonight. However, this does include the entire property all the way over to Interstate 29. It's roughly 74.3 acres, and as we kind of indicated before, they're looking at constructing a future office, commercial, and multifamily residential development.
Jason, thank you. Did anybody want to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Selberg. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 36.
Item 36 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls approving the preliminary plan of Old Ridge Farms addition.
This is also rezoning that we had seen earlier in the night. The applicant here is Brady Hyde. This is the property that's on 41st and Ellis. It's roughly that 44 acres, and they are looking at constructing or subdividing the property for an apartment complex adjacent to 41st, and then some townhomes to the north and to the east.
Jason, thank you. Folks, anybody want to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Neitzer.
Councilor Buck has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Neitzer. Thank you both. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 37.
Item 37 is a report of the September 22nd, 2017 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within major organizational units.
Thank you. Council, any new business? Would anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Bach, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned to Falls. Make it a great, great night.